I've always wanted to do this. They say better late than never, and that's definitely what this has been. So for people that are here, you might notice a bit of a change if you've had a look at some of the artwork. The podcast used to be called Raw Knowledge Podcast, still hosted by myself, but we've had a bit of an evolution change. So it's now going to be, as you may have seen, Curious Conversations. I guess that really piques a bit of a curious conversation or a question in itself, which is, why the change? Well, I've been focusing on some other things for a while, and this is something that's always been a passion project of mine, having really honest, raw conversations with people, hence Raw Knowledge Podcast. And we used to talk a lot about training, nutrition, but there was a lot of lifestyle in there as well. But I realized after speaking to guests that one of the oldest forms really of attention is storytelling, as you might know, and that is something that I'm really, really passionate about. So we're transitioning into Curious Conversations to have these conversations where I don't want you to be listening in, just listening in. I want you to almost be part of the conversation as well. So rather than just listening in, I want you to imagine that you pull up a chair and you sat in the room and maybe you're just listening in, tuning in and just getting something out of it. And you might be at a beach in Sydney. You could be on a park bench in London. You might even be thrashing it in the gym in Germany. Wherever it is, I want you to feel welcome. Pop on the podcast, and it's a place where you don't have to really just focus, because it's not just about feeding your brain with information, or you have to get something specifically out of it. And I think that's something that has become a little bit more, I guess, repetitive now with the podcast world. Let's face it, everyone's got a mic and they probably shouldn't, but ultimately a podcast should be something that you pop on and enjoy. And I know for me, oftentimes when I listen to some of my favorite podcasts, it's when I'm doing an idle activity. Perhaps I'm doing the washing, or I've got to do a bit of cleaning up, or meal prep. That's a real big one for me. And I just like to put it on and have a listen. I don't want to be overly focused and go, hang on, what were they saying? I want to have a bit of a laugh, a bit of a chuckle, maybe something that makes me go, that's a really good takeaway. And that's what I want for you. And that is one of the reasons why we've decided to pivot in such a way, and hence the name, Curious Conversations. So I guess what I'm getting at is curiosity is the driver of these conversations, not ego or not an educational push. And one of the things that makes a conversation great is that it unfolds naturally. So most of the time I will be with guests. However, I will endeavor to do some solo work as well. So one thing that we did on Raw Knowledge that you really liked and we got a lot of great feedback from was the educational pieces, diving into the hormones, the peptides, the nitty gritty of the training and nutrition, but I'm going to extrapolate it in a way where I'm not giving you a lecture. If you went to university, I'm going to draw the science out. Sure, we've got to make sure we've got that backbone, but I want to give you guys actually key takeaways and how can you actually apply them in the real world to get a benefit in a way that you remember. And I'm going to make it fun. So I'm going to draw out real metaphors and examples, which again is going to be part of the storytelling. But for the most part, it will be guest based, and we'll be diving into all sorts of guests as well. It's not just going to be based around fitness, like I said. And if you guys are unfamiliar with the back catalog, you can start listening right now. We've had guests on like Chris Williamson from Modern Wisdom Podcast. We've had people like Ash Dykes who featured on Joe Rogan, and people like Kezia Noble, who are some of the best dating experts in the world. And if I do say so myself, these conversations, they're pretty curious. So with that said, it's not just going to be value, or forced productivity. Sometimes the conversations might be light, sometimes they might be deep, and sometimes they might take you to places you didn't expect. So as I've said, we will be covering training, nutrition, we'll do hormones, peptides, but there's going to be things like travel. We're going to be talking about culture, fashion. We'll have some challenging conversations, but I'll make sure that I always leave it open-minded. I'm not going to come in with my own biases, but I will share my point of views. But the whole point is to let the guests speak and really think about some other perspectives that we didn't think of before, which might challenge our own beliefs. But isn't that part of a great conversation? The fact that we might be able to entertain a thought or a process or even a line of inquiry that maybe we didn't believe at the start of the conversation. So to summarize, I don't want you to just be an audience. I want you to be part of this conversation in some way, shape, or form, wherever you are in the world. So that's Curious Conversations in a nutshell. Make sure you tune in, and if you like it, stick around, and who knows, we might make it into your regular rotation. But look, let's just see where it goes, and we'll take it from there. I'll see you in the next episode.